Hi,
Hello, this is,
everyone.
go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Apologies for the delay. We are about to begin our webcast, Accelerating Innovation and Governance, with Rachel Pizarro, and I'll let her take it away.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for waiting. I appreciate you joining us today. I'd like to talk about how AWS Marketplace and AWS Service Catalog help accelerate innovation and governance through a simplified software procurement and service management. I'm pleased to meet you. Thank you for joining us today. I'm Rachel Pizarro. I've been with Amazon Web Services for about 7 years, and I'm always been working with public sector, so I'm really excited to have this particular audience. I want to talk to you about how enterprise software portfolios in transition. Gartner says that traditional cloud will increasingly be the default software option for software deployment. Traditional enterprise software management has many challenges and it's undergoing a transition. That's probably why you're on the call today. You're probably wondering how to handle the software changes that are going on. Well, cloud is the future for software deployment, and it's because it's solving these challenges. Right now, many organizations are dealing with up to 70% of a enterprise software portfolio that is comprised of COTS, 200 and plus software um, product vendors. Each vendor contract has different terms, different metrics, different requirements. Many organizations have large enterprise agreements, enterprise license agreements for the top 50 vendors, and basically a long list of products not well known or tracked within the organization and across many agencies. And then there's upgrade cascades over a 3 to 5 year cycle, which offers a high potential for rationalization and does make challenges around standardization and consolidation. Enterprises are telling us that they have a lot of challenges around software contract terms, entitlement, deployment models, managing all of those issues. It's hard for them to see everything in a single view. They don't have a single approved catalog of software. Cloud migration and hybrid environments add additional complexity. And then there's the complex agreement to manage. Those all add additional challenges around procurement, provisioning, deployment of software. Now, AWS Marketplace simplifies software provisioning. We started this part of Amazon Web Services about 6 years ago, and in that time, we have been building a software store, and it's an automated platform, builds capability for the ISV and for your buyers and engineers. We engineer on both sides of the supply chain. We have over 1,300 software vendors who think about publishing authors into the marketplace, and we run a managed catalog service where we are operating catalog operations 24/7, and we publish to new regions such as the GovCloud region when we add Marketplace to GovCloud based on vendor instructions so that customers have access to libraries in the region they need and in the country they need. So now with Marketplace, you can consume, find, test, buy, deploy software in the cloud the same way you use your other services. You can get new software, maybe born in the cloud. If you've got a license agreement, you can bring your own license and use the same software, knowing that by getting it from Marketplace, that version will work well with AWS EC2 and other services that we offer. You can come and get your free open source software, and we provide tools for tagging, for metering, for tracking your resources. As I said, we have over 1,300 ISVs offering over 4,200 product listings because many of them offer AMIs, Amazon Machine Image, software you install on your EC2 compute resources, or as well as SaaS offerings. And today we have over 190,000 active customers around the world, which results in over 570 million hours of compute deployed through the software being launched out of the marketplace. And this means the adoption is rapidly growing in just 6 years to have this much consumption already of software. Now, we are all looking to simplify procurement and license management. As we talked about earlier, you've got challenges with the hybrid environment, the ability to consume software in the cloud, and we want to get everything on a single bill so you can see consolidated billing and see all your software and your compute and storage resources on one invoice. This helps reduce the procurement friction so that way you can start consuming software the same way you consume your other AWS services, uh, on demand, by the hour, or maybe a long-term commitment on an annual basis. It's really up to you based on your needs and requirements. And by consuming your software for your AWS environment through the marketplace, you can manage your license renewals and also view all your licenses in one place to quickly understand what you're operating and what needs to be renewed and where it's being deployed. Now, Marketplace offers flexible consumption and numerous contract models. So many of our offers include a free trial. You can get started quickly with no commitment. That's a great way to just experiment with software, experiment in the cloud without making a purchase. You can go launch maybe 2 or 3 products from the same category, for instance, 3 security products, and compare them on a free trial and then turn them off, and you've had no cost, but you've at least had a chance to try something all on your own, on your terms at your time, when you want. We offer consumption models. So if you're in a situation where the software is being used maybe by some contractors or a dev team, and they're only going to be using it a few hours a week or on a short-term basis, you just want to be charged for what you actually use. So we offer consumption models in the pricing, the software pricing. Also, there's the ability to commit to a monthly price that often results in a lower price than the consumption or hourly model. And you can even get into annual and multi-year term agreements. All of these different consumption and contract models help you tailor your needs to the way you operate your AWS resources. I mentioned earlier you can bring your own license, and that allows you to leverage the license investments you have already made, but then secure the software from the marketplace so that you can start combining everything into one environment. And we recently launched seller private offers this year, and this is an excellent way to negotiate special pricing terms, maybe a special end user license agreement with your ISV or vendor who's listed in the marketplace to receive a private offer unique to your organization or institution. And I know many of our customers today are looking for competitive contract vehicles they can leverage with AWS in order to access our services. And we offer the ability to connect with many of our partners who have contract vehicles that you can leverage. They're using AWS contract vehicles to develop smarter cities, smarter schools, and everything from automating parking meters, making utility payments. AWS contracts, our partners, the entire ecosystem we've enabled to leverage the cloud for public sector is now available to you, whether you're federal, education, state and local, or even an international organization. We'll send you the links later, but you can drill into our contract center and find partners that offer the contracts that you may need. We also offer flexible software deployment options. So I mentioned earlier an Amazon machine image. So for those of you who are not familiar with using AWS services yet, the opportunity to launch a server with the operating system of your choice allows you then to go and receive an image to install on that server. It's popular for single instance deployment of software directly into your virtual private cloud. And this allows you to have maximum flexibility with the bring your own license, pay-as-you-go option, free trials, and we even offer curated open source options. There's also the ability to use a template deployment model. This means it'll be a CloudFormation template that will launch multiple services into your account. For instance, it might launch the software along with compute and a database. This will offer you complete solution implementation that's automated launch, so you don't have to put it together yourself. We also added SaaS subscription, software as a service. This means your SaaS solution with a subscription can be offered with a tiered contracting options. Our vendors often provide monthly, annual, multi-year agreements, as well as the ability to have different pricing based on volume. You can get different tiered options in the pricing. So this is a very popular way to really consume a lot of the new born in the cloud solutions that are operated by our vendors. We have API capability to directly integrate your applications, again, driving more automation, as well as the ability, and this is in preview, a private image build. So then you can create your gold image that you will deploy to your internal stakeholders, ensuring that when they launch an image, it has all your policies and security controls built into it. Now let's talk about software and the different ways we look at the vendors. There's the big mega five top vendors. We manage Microsoft and Oracle offerings. You can get that with your with your AWS services. And then you can also bring SAP, VMware, IBM, or Salesforce onto AWS. So we have great relationships with those top vendors. Moving down the stack from those big ones, our customers are also working with the next top 50 vendors, and a lot of your staff want to continue using that same software. So those vendors are also on the journey with us and with you to the cloud. They've made their software available in the marketplace, and this will allow you to maintain the training and skill sets and certifications you've invested your staff into your staff to maintain in the cloud and use the software they're familiar with. And then lastly, we've got a long tail of over 500 vendors that have offerings that are unique, maybe specific like to a smart city or education space, and a lot of them born in the cloud with services and capabilities to support your cloud journey. Now we have many popular categories most often deployed or displayed here. As I mentioned earlier, in your journey to the cloud, you have a choice of different operating systems to use, and then you probably want to find your favorite security offering and or maybe try some out or bring the ones you've already been using and get your environment, your virtual private cloud secured. You need to store your data and network your environment, have a database and media, DevOps, business intelligent tools. This is just a small sampling of the over 1,600 vendors we offer, but it shows you there are familiar brand names you're probably using today. Additionally, we have a category of different applications that are significant interest to the public sector. We've launched smart city solutions last year. We have a number of sellers on the platform, on the marketplace catalog that offer solutions around smart cities. For instance, Exact with Kansas City is a referenceable case study you can read about in the Kansas City smart city implementation. We offer machine learning and artificial intelligence, and in that space, you'll find justice and public safety solutions like Veritone, which offers intelligent AI capabilities for law enforcement. And of course, there's Internet of Things where you can get the software and potentially the devices and software you need to implement a smart city solution, a smart campus, and capabilities around IoT. And of course, GIS is a big space in the cloud. It does consume so many resources, and the cloud has enabled the capability for GIS solutions and location-based services in just minutes by using the cloud. And for public sector, there's really some areas of consideration for procurement. I want to begin with the fact that you want to start out with making sure you've got an ability to subscribe to software, and you're going to need an AWS account, and that's where you can go get a directly work with us through a click-through customer agreement, or you can leverage the contracts and vehicles that are available through our partners that I mentioned earlier. We have a robust ecosystem of consulting and technology partners that are helping our customers with recommendations around how to architect their cloud environment, as well as software partners that have solutions for your journey to the cloud. And then as you move up the stack, we offer certification and compliance resources so that you can learn about how to achieve perhaps inherit GovCloud controls or comply with SOC 2 compliance, FedRAMP. A number of compliance certification attestations are available for your review. You can go onto our compliance page and request information on that. And then we offer architecture and education resources. You can get your folks certified and trained, and students also enabled to learn how to use the cloud. And then layered on top of all of that, we've got the commercial marketplace. That's our marketplace that we've been talking about, and I'll show it to you at the end of this, at the end of the slides. And then we've made GovCloud region available as one of the many regions available in the commercial marketplace. So you can deploy software from Oregon, Virginia, or you can select software to deploy in your GovCloud account or leverage a GovCloud region. And then we have the C2S Intelligence Community Marketplace, which is an air-gapped region to support our 17 agencies. And so many of our public sector customers and partners are engaged in that space as well. I just want to reemphasize that we have recently launched the GovCloud region as another offer in region available in Marketplace. So many of our sellers have made their software available in the GovCloud region. And for those of you who are not familiar with AWS GovCloud, it's a region designed to host sensitive data and regulated workloads. It helps our customers who have US, federal, state, and local government compliance requirements. It also allows users to try before you buy the software because now it's in the marketplace. And we also support bring your own license capabilities, SaaS contracts, SaaS subscriptions. And we have over 900, I think over 1,000 now, different products in the GovCloud region that you can try. And I showed you earlier, for instance, all the different categories. Well, you can see by the yellow highlight on that previous slide how many of our sellers have already made their software available in the GovCloud, and more are being added daily. So a lot of the software you would use in your commercial region is also available in the GovCloud, and more are coming every day. Just a minute. This pop-up. There we go. C2S. So that's the cloud I talked about earlier for the intelligence community. It's air-gapped, it's private, and if you're part of the one of the agencies that uses C2S, then there's a specialized area for you to access AWS Marketplace. Now I want to talk a little bit about private offers. I mentioned earlier that there are private offers available to negotiate with your ISVs. This means that you can receive specific pricing, and you could even change out the end user license terms with your seller private offers. You can get the same benefits of consolidated billing, cost analysis, subscription management, and pay a lower privately negotiated price visible only to you and your ISV or seller. The seller provides us with your account ID. So once again, you need to make sure you've got your contract vehicle in place, your AWS account set up, and then you'll be able to launch your private offer for the software that's negotiated just for you. We also offer something called Enterprise Contract for Marketplace. We spent time with a number of sellers and buyers that were able to come together and agree on a simplified set of license terms to a streamlined contracting process. So these sellers are all using the same terms and conditions. So the buyers in the program know that when they subscribe to software from the sellers on here, they've already have the same terms and conditions that they can expect to receive every time they contract with one of the sellers. Pearson is one of the partners or customers that actually helped us build this program. And they said that they wanted to have a faster process for contracting that's less expensive and simpler to speed up their teams to accomplish, yet a low risk in the compliance area. The enterprise contract helps them accomplish that. With the enterprise contract, you can standardize on your license terms, reduce the negotiation cycles, and then this helps you simplify procurement and provisioning of your software. So now that you know how to build your software portfolio, we're going to show you how to manage it, because really you've got a lot of opportunity to deploy and provision software and deploy software into your accounts. But with that comes a need to also understand how to manage all this software, all these different titles and resources available to you through your cloud environment. So Service Catalog provides governance, which you can think of it as a launch plane onto AWS. It gives you the capability to have two different roles. Your administrator, which will apply user groups. This can be done with your Active Directory or LDOP, something like that, where you can provision certain users. For instance, maybe the Department of Transportation users in that group will look at all the mapping apps. And you can enforce tagging. You can control which accounts they can launch software into. You create portfolios of approved software and services using a CloudFormation template that adds the products. You can add constraints. Maybe you'll say, hey, this contractor, I don't want them to use anything except this software on this size EC2 compute. I'm just going to give them access to 1 or 2 servers. And then from the end user point of view, they'll go into Service Catalog as a user, not as an administrator. They'll see what product they've been approved to use, based on the permissions and constraints that have been implemented by the administrator, and then they can launch what's provisioned for that group or that user. This could vary, and it's all controlled by the administrator. With this administrative capability and Service Catalog, then you're driving the procure, copy software off of the marketplace into the catalog and then help launch it. So your users are accessing the software, your administrators controlling and governing who gets what resources and where, and then your cloud teams and the different users are able to build their services and perform the jobs that they need to do to perform to deliver on their mission, right? So around this message around Service Catalog, I just wanted to mention, to wrap it up, enabling customers to move, modernize, and manage, right? When you're going to the cloud, it's not an all or nothing. We know everybody's in a hybrid environment. They're trying to figure out, what can we migrate? What can we move? And how do we manage everything? And then how do we modernize it? So this gives you kind of visual about how we have tools to help you with the migration. We have a migration hub. We have application discovery services and other capabilities from our marketplace vendors that will also help you with the migrations. We offer the capability to publish these services into your Service Catalog, not just marketplace software, but all our AWS services. And then you get your software copied into the catalog. You can publish and use and operate all these different services to manage your environment. This allows you to look at how to modernize your environment once it's in the cloud, what should go to the cloud, what's should be maybe left behind. I know there's a lot of legacy apps that need to be left behind. What are the new apps that you might want to use to replace older apps that are aging? Maybe you've got some custom apps that you want to display and make available to others or to other organizations. Maybe you've built something really great that other departments should use, or other, for instance, agencies doing the same service, Department of Transportation in multiple cities might want to be able to share different software capabilities. So there's a lot of ways to use Marketplace, Service Catalog, and think about the entire ecosystem between our software vendors, our consulting partners, solution architects, your entire account team. We're all here to help you think about how to embrace the cloud and move forward. Just going to give you a quick little example. Change Healthcare and AWS. We help them with they had an application portfolio of 150 legacy apps across multiple data centers. They moved 30 products to AWS, have 200 more in their pipeline. They're modernizing by building 5 next-gen services natively into AWS, and they can subscribe in Marketplace and provision to the service catalog. Here's some examples of the software they used from Marketplace to make these to move forward with their migration and modernization capabilities. Now I want to thank you. I've taken about 30 minutes so far. I want to do a quick demo out to show you how that catalog looks. And let me just go into AWS Marketplace. And once I'm on the Marketplace, you can see we have a search bar up here. This is a quick trick I want to show you right now. If you click on this, put your cursor in the search bar and just enter, it will show you on the left here, vendors. It'll show you actually at the top. It shows all our categories, 3,296 infrastructure, software titles, developer tools, business software. Well, you can filter on the different vendors below, but what's really important here that I want to show you, I can scroll down a little bit, here we go, are the regions. So there's a lot of filters here you can pick from. And importantly, for those who are interested in GovCloud, if you scroll down and do it the way I just did, you'll see we have 1,032 GovCloud apps, right? So there's a great way to just get a short list of all the GovCloud apps. I also want to show you a little bit more about the different ways to use the information available on the seller page. The seller builds this page. And if you're a seller and want to list on Marketplace, you can come over here to sell at AWS Marketplace and get a lot of information. And so the seller will go in and build this, add their product, and give you a product overview. And this is a great place to start. You can read more about the versions. You can see if they have other versions. They have product videos. You can see the category tags. You can see the operating systems available and how they fulfill it, whether it's a CloudFormation template, do they have a private image you can use, and it's an Amazon machine image delivery model. You can estimate your costs under pricing information, and again, here's where you can drop down and find the region. And for instance, you want GovCloud again, there you go. That's where you'll find a way to deploy into your GovCloud account. This will show you the software pricing details. So it says for GovCloud, if I'm running on an M4 large, it's going to be $274 an hour for the software. The EC2 hourly cost for an M4 large is additive to the software cost, so that'd be another 12.126 an hour. So your total hourly cost will show software on your invoice as well as your compute charges. So you'll be charged for the by the hour these prices. But if you want to go to a smaller machine, you can toggle it and see the estimated cost comes out to about $1.30, $1.14 an hour, $1.42 an hour. If you like to save on an annual basis, you can click on the annual button and again see, okay, it went from down to 17% savings on the same infrastructure to about $9,000 a year versus the hourly model. It also offers you the ability to have a free trial. We talked about that. They're offering it for 14 days. So if you're not sure, you can try it out and then turn it off. There's different fulfillment methods information you want to look at. The seller has provided getting started information, so really so much great self-service information. Here, this template will create a Matillion ETL stack. It's going to use a virtual private cloud, VPC, with Redshift on a 14-day trial. So when you look at your bill, not only are you going to get charged for the software, you're going to be getting charged for the Redshift as well as the computes. And then this is designed for new users to try it out, run a proof of concept, and leverage the template components, for instance, that are offered by this seller. You can see, okay, it's going to use CloudFormation, it's going to use Compute, EC2, it's going to use our block storage and Redshift, so that when you get charges for all those 4 services, you'll know why. You'll also be able to look at the usage instructions, and then you also can see CloudFormation templates and look at the different ways to which templates you want to use, whether it's a single instance, maybe you want a clustered high availability template, maybe you want to try private image for CentOS. Maybe legal needs to read the EULA and you want to take a look at that and send that over to legal. So I'm showing all of this to you to just show you how rich the seller page is, all the information they've made available to you in a self-service manner, so you can really do your homework and figure out more about the software product, how much it's going to cost, estimate, look at how it's supported. If it's software support, here's, Matillion support. If you're looking at infrastructure support from AWS, here's how we support infrastructure. If you want more details on the subscription, the refund policy, and how customers are reviewing it. Again, we're using our 5-star rating like we do with rating our books on Amazon.com, which is really, we want to be the everything store for software, right? So this is taking from a lot of those models, even the user reviews. So just to give you one more click through, I'm going to show you for an AMI, you would click continue to subscribe, and then you have to be logged into your account. So this is where we know that you have an AWS account. We know who to invoice should you incur charges. And then I'm going to finish signing in. Oh, well, I can't do it because I'm not on my computer. So let's see, maybe I did. I got a code on my phone, 949411. 949411. So you can enable 2-step verification, make sure you have the capabilities. So here, when you're on the subscribe page, you can, again, click through to accept terms, and then this will give you a better idea of what that looks like. So I'm going to click accept, and then I can enter product support, connection information. This means in order to receive support, I'm going to voluntarily provide my contact information so that they know who I am when I call in for support. So that's an AMI. You can save your software under your saved list. Here you can see I've saved, for instance, Exact. I mentioned them with Kansas City. We've got some imagery developed for higher ed. We've got Novetta that's been used in healthcare, more smart cities, justice and public safety apps, open data, IoT solutions. Here's again autopsy for digital forensics. So you can save your favorite software up here. And if you want to subscribe to a SaaS solution, Then we have different offers. Here, this one, he's doing it on pricing details are here. Since it's SaaS, it's quickly set up your account, and this is going to take me over to the seller's page where then I go in and put in my name and information so they give me access to the environment. So I'm going to stop that right now and go back because I also want to show you that we have a migration mapping assistant. And this allows you then to import your list of software. Just download a file for formatting guidelines and then import your file to compare what software you want to look for. This will then map your software list and let you know what's in the marketplace and see if you find anything missing, see if you find a match, and then you have a better idea of what you can use in the marketplace. There's a lot of great FAQs under help, so I recommend you look in here again for additional information, and then we've got great documentation. So I want to wrap up with lastly, I would just wanted to go to my last slide and suggest that for next steps, you get in touch with your cloud migration team, whether you're working with a partner, working with your AWS account team, figure out what are the top 50 vendors in your top categories that you need to identify for your cloud journey. And understand cloud engineering teams are innovating at a new pace. They're evaluating new vendors. So procurement officers are looking at how do I keep up with my teams? How do I provide software the same way they're consuming the cloud? And start adopting AWS Marketplace and the enterprise contract to transform your software procurement and provisioning, and work with our channel partners who hold government contracts to also help you manage these resources. Now I'd like to open it up to questions and answers, and thank you so much for sticking with me after this late start.
If you folks have any questions, please go ahead and add them to the questions section, and Rachel or Christopher or Pop will be able to answer those questions for you, or we'll read them out loud.
Yeah, thank you, Chris. He's noticed I had multi-factor authentication. That's a really great practice, and we do offer different methods of that. And then in terms of, I wanted to mention earlier while I'm waiting for some questions, if with Service Catalog, we have a great demo of Service Catalog as well as a deeper dive on provisioning software on YouTube channel. I'm going to make sure you get a link to go look at that later. And it's also important to learn about our IAM policies and how to implement IAM with your directory services.
Rachel, we have a question. What are the plans for a region in Canada?
The plans for region in Canada. Well, we have the region already in Montreal. And can you be more specific?
For Canadian government.
All right. So the Canadian government has an opportunity to leverage the marketplace. It's a global marketplace, and it should have capability. We have software that's in the Canadian region as well, and more going in there. And we really want to work with more Canadian vendors. So if you're a seller out there from Canada, we would love to get your software into the marketplace. And if you're the Canadian government and have vendors you need in the marketplace that aren't there, do let us know. We'll make sure that it's available to you by reaching out to those vendors. And don't forget, we have a summit coming up for Canada in Ottawa, October 29th.
We have a question that do we currently have any utilities? I'm assuming utility companies using AWS.
Yes, and let me see if I have some software, some references for you. It's hard to get public sector references. because they don't want to appear to be endorsing anybody. But yes, we have seen, for instance, I know we had a reference with, it was water meters. I don't have one off the top. If you're talking about water, I don't know about electric, but Houston PWE, Public Works and Engineering, migrated onto AWS Cloud, and they were able to provide real-time updates to their citizens around water through water meter IoT solution that would give them real-time information on their consumption. They could see their utility bills online any time of day or night, and it helped them identify where there were leaks in real time instead of waiting for the end of the month bill. So it really helped them reduce the cost of water to all the citizens and corporations in town when they could really monitor everything in real time by migrating to the cloud. So that was one of our first use cases in Houston.
We have another question. We have an ELA with Microsoft, but they exclude running their software on AWS. So BYOL for Microsoft is not available. Any goals by Amazon to find language with Microsoft?
Well, we do offer Microsoft SQL Server, and we have SharePoint, customers running SharePoint on AWS. Microsoft has in the product use rights license mobility, and I have a link to that on our page that will describe what software is permitted through the license mobility in the PER from Microsoft. Of course, Office 365 is probably not going to be one of the solutions we operate because that's already operated on their cloud, but there are alternatives to that, as well as a number of the server solutions that are available through the license mobility provisions in the PER. We'll send you a link to that.
We have a question for training for staff. What approach would you recommend? And I'll go ahead and take that. It really depends on the size of the organization, and the really kind of comes down to the learning method that the student prefers. But we have a huge library of documentation if people want to just read about the services, and we have white papers, FAQs. We have a site that we have a library of quick starts if someone actually just wants to build something and they learn by trial and error. We also have broadcasts and videos on YouTube from our various reInvents and tech summits, so they could learn that way. There's also third-party vendors like A-Cloud Guru and Linux Academy that have lesson tracks. We have some lesson tracks through our own website to obtain certification. So it really just depends. I mean, there's a wide variety of ways to get information about AWS services and learn how to either build on AWS or migrate to AWS. Anything you want to add to that, Rachel?
Yeah, I also wanted to mention for those universities and schools on the call to take a look at our AWS education website, because we offer different types of grants and programs for educators, for students. We have AWS Educate, which offers a roadmap for learning about the cloud. So I will definitely include those links for you, as well as the other links that Chris was talking about. But there's great resources for the educational community to help include AWS in their classroom curriculum, in their laboratories, and we're also onboarding education sellers, for instance, that will have software to manage your labs in the cloud, or maybe some version of classroom management solutions, mobile device management. So we're adding education apps to the marketplace too.
Looks like we have one more question from Canada. Are there any staff discounts available for government staff?
Actually, we don't discount our software because that would mean certain people are paying more than others. We give everybody the lowest price. So whatever price you see is the lowest price. So I remember I used to have this question a lot. I like to say everybody gets education pricing because that's typically the lowest price. We have reduced our prices annually ever since we started the company. I don't know what other software company will get more customers, increase their scale, drive down their cost, and pass on that savings to the customer in terms of reduced cost of our services. So in terms of our AWS services, we give everybody the lowest price, even if you're government, education, nonprofit. You can enjoy our low prices across the board. Software vendors will be negotiating their own prices. We're the third-party distributor. We do not set the price of the third-party software. That's up to the vendor.
So for the sake of time, we're just going to take one more question, and the other questions will be answered through email. The last question is, are there any case studies or examples of K-12 school districts using AWS?
There are, and I just don't have it off the top of my head, but let me include some references for you specifically for the K through 12 space. That's an awesome area in order to consume SaaS solutions. It relieves the limited IT resources that typically exist in a K through 12 environment to get modern apps that are being operated by the vendor. So SaaS solutions, for instance, Relay by Lightspeed helps classrooms, teachers manage all the devices, turn everybody's iPad off at the same time, control everything. So we have a lot of these new education vendors building apps for this audience. So we'll send you some information on that and some links to our partners in that space. Thank you.
Thank you everyone for joining our webinar. We will be sharing the handouts in an email as well as the slides to come. Thanks so much.
Thanks everybody. Talk to you later.